Hi, I'm Dennis Washington from Cross Digital and CrossDig.com with your weekly pep talk, Think Big. That word big, it's the focus of a conference that I'm a part of, a member of the board of directors for the Exposure Youth Camp held at the end of December every year. It's for Christian teens from all over the Southeast come to this, and even other parts of the country. Thousands will be there. This year's theme is big, and while we're working on plans for the conference this year, certainly got to thinking about the overall concept of big and thinking big. Something that came to my mind, and I always look for this, is how can I apply this not only to my personal life but to my business? How can I help you apply this to your business? Of course, one of the stories that comes to my mind when I think about the concept of thinking big is the two blind men who are following Jesus. You read the story in Matthew chapter 9. I mean, they're walking along the road, shouting at him, say, "Hey, Jesus, have mercy on us, have pity on us." And they persisted, even after Jesus reached his destination. Finally, Jesus just turns around and asks them, said, "Do you believe I can make you well?" I mean, this is a big point in the conversation right here, because they finally got his attention. And he asked them a very pointed question. Well, their answer, of course, without hesitation, yes. Yes, Lord, yes. And with the touch of his finger, they could see. They thought big. They didn't ask Jesus for someone that could guide them. They didn't ask Jesus for just a little bit of something. They went for the whole big thing. They thought big. They said, "Jesus, we know that you can let us see that there's no one else in this world that can, but we know you can." They thought big. They didn't ask Jesus for just some medicine to make them feel better, or a walking stick or something like that. They asked Jesus for sight. They thought big. So I got to thinking, how does that story and that concept of thinking big apply to us, not only in our life, but in our businesses? First off, you have to set goals. I mean, you think about these guys. Their goal was they wanted to be able to see. And then you've got to communicate. You've got to communicate your goals. In this case, these guys went and shouted at Jesus what they wanted. But in the case of your business, you've got a goal of maybe doubling your profits this year, growing your business, adding new franchises, whatever the case may be. Growing your business is your goal. So once you've set the goals of what you want to do, you've got to then start communicating, especially internally. Every employee in your business needs to know your goals. I was having a conversation with a client earlier this week, and we were talking about this concept of communication. And, he's got different segments of an email list where he wants to communicate certain things to one group and certain things to another, and one group doesn't necessarily, in his eyes, needed to know what the other one doing. And I told him, I said, it's better to err on the side of just tell everybody everything that's going on. Even if you don't think one group needs to know what the other group's doing, it may help them, if anything, be encouraged to know that the people that's in charge of them is getting, for instance, some training that they need. They're not involved in the training. The training doesn't apply to them, but they are encouraged to know that their bosses, their leaders, are getting training, because they know that means that you care about their bosses and want them to be the best they can be in order to help them. So communicating with everybody. Over-communicate. If you think you've communicated something, you probably haven't communicated enough. Over-communicate to get people excited about what's going on. Plus, I mean, you think about how this world, we're so attention deficit disorder. I mean, there's so many distractions around us. It's hard to get people's attention for just a few seconds even. So over-communicate something, even if you think people have heard it. Chances are they may have and forgotten it. So over-communicate. Number 3, stop doing the things that will prevent you from reaching your goals. We've talked about this here on the Weekly Pep Talk for many weeks. This whole concept of managing your time wisely. So often we get bogged down in doing things that really have no effect on growing our business. If that's your goal this year, but you're mired down in dealing with corporate responses and meetings all the time that have no impact on the bottom line, reevaluate those. Are they necessary? Are they holding you and your business back from growing? You know, in the case of these guys here with Jesus, they could have easily said, you know, we're hungry, we got to go eat, or we've got a job that we've got to get to. They stopped doing the things that was going to prevent them from being able to see. They realized that the only way to be able to see was to reach Jesus and convince him to heal them. So they stopped doing everything else and focused on that one thing. So in the case of your business, stop doing the things that are preventing you from reaching your goals. That way, finally, number 4, you can spend more time focusing on your goals. In this case, these guys focused on their goal of being able to see by getting Jesus to heal them, and that's exactly what they did. They spent all of their time focused on that one goal. You've got a goal for your business. Get you and your business, your employees, focused around that goal. Spend more time on those goals. Think big. Don't think small. Think big. Get out of your comfort zone. Think big, and you will be shocked at how awesome that feels. I'm Dennis Washington with this week's Weekly Pep Talk from Cross Digital and CrossDig.com. Think big.